Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Cash Flow Club. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what I'm going to refer to as the $10,000 hour. Now, I will credit Perry Marshall from his book 80/20 Marketing and Sales with this mindset piece, and I'm going to share as true to the original as I can, but I'm also going to give my little feedback and input. And in his book, Perry Marshall talks a lot about the Pareto principle, the 80/20 principle, and basically 80% of our results come from 20% of our effort. Now, if you think about it, that means that 20% of our results comes from the other 80% of our effort. And we want to get really crystal clear on what gives most impact in the least time. So when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, they say, I'm too busy or I don't have time. And so we're going to talk about the $10,000 hour. Now, in the book, Perry breaks various things down into $10, $100, $1,000, and $10,000 per hour. And unfortunately, the $10 and the $100 hour activities tend to be the things that we notice. They tend to feel urgent. And because they're urgent, we tend to feel they're important. However, in a lot of cases, they're not urgent at all. They just feel urgent, and they're definitely not important. So one of the things we can and should do is look at the activities that we do. We've talked about the heaven or hell exercise before, but basically, what are the activities that we should eliminate, automate, or delegate? So for example, the $10 an hour activities almost always can be eliminated. Your life won't change drastically if you don't do them. Look at everything you do and say, does this have to be done? Yes or no? Now, if it does have to be done, then we look at delegating it or automating it. I always start with automating first because if I can automate something, I never have to think about it again. I never have to worry about making sure somebody's doing it. So for me, a $10,000 an hour task is sitting down for an hour and thinking about the things in my business, doing the heaven or hell exercise, and asking myself, what can I eliminate? What can I automate? And what can I delegate? Now, the $100 an hour tasks, I still believe can be eliminated, automated, or delegated. And the idea would be to find somebody that enjoys doing those things and would happily take it on. So an example of a $10 an hour task is going out to buy office supplies. I can either automate it by going onto Amazon, setting up a recurrent order, or I can completely eliminate it. Maybe I go paperless and then I don't need paper. Or I can delegate it and I can say to somebody, have a virtual assistant. And by the way, for $10 an hour tasks, you want less than $10 an hour virtual assistants. So they're not adding great value to your life. They're just giving you time back. They're not solving big problems. They're just doing repetitive tasks. The $100 an hour, you can afford to pay somebody a little more local, a little more experienced, a little more senior. Again, if the task is worth $100, you're going to pay less than that, obviously. And the more you can delegate, that gives you more time. Now, the 1,000 and the 10,000, the only way we get to 10,000 is if we can get the $10 and $100 an hour tasks off our plate. So the $1,000 an hour tasks might be creating systems and processes or finding the person to create the systems and processes. The $10,000 might be the high level strategic thinking and things like that. So Think about your business, and I'm just going to say this, you don't have to do this all the time. You're not shooting to have every minute of every day, every hour of every day at the 10,000 level, but just think about what would happen to your business if you spent 1 hour a week, 1 hour a month, whatever that number is, at the $10,000 level. Now, just to be clear, the universe isn't paying you $10,000. I'm not paying you $10,000. Nobody's paying you $10,000. What you're doing is focusing on adding $10,000 worth of value to your day. And by the way, my threshold for having a call with somebody, I absolutely hate. Hey, let's get on a call and discuss random things. That to me is at best a $10 an hour task. But the reality is that costs me $10,000 an hour, mentally, physically, in terms of my time, energy, attention, and money. So for me, a good conversation is how do we solve a big problem in business? So I believe in a 10x return on investment. So if I'm having a $10,000 hour, my goal is to solve a $100,000 problem or challenge. So this is where this comes into play. Book it now, block it out in your calendar. This is non-negotiable. This is your most important hour of the week. And just start with 1 hour a week where you focus on how do I eliminate, automate, or delegate the things that take my time. And spoiler alert, based on the Pareto principle, I can tell you that 20% of your activities generate 80% of your headaches. So if you can identify and eliminate 20% of where you spend your day, you can recover 80% of your time roughly. Now, that's not a hard and fast, it's just a really good rule of thumb. So if you're burnt out, you're stressed out, you're overworked, and your business isn't where you want it to be, the number one thing I would say is take an hour and start with 1 hour. Don't get in get in your head about how many hours and all of the time commitment, but take 1 hour and sit down and write out a list of the 10 things that drive you crazy in your day. And if you don't have 10 things, congratulations, well done. You're probably doing well, and you're probably not sitting around looking for advice. But if you're burnt out, stressed out, overworked, overwhelmed, take an hour. I know it'll sound a little crazy because you'll say, Jeff, what hour? Um, just block it out. Trust me on this. Take an hour, do the heaven or hell exercise, and think about what are the things that I could eliminate from my day so that I have more time for this reflection and this high level strategic. Because here's the thing, there is an old saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. It exists for a reason. So your $10,000 hour, your very first one that you give yourself and your business is the strategy hour where you figure out exactly where you want to go and you figure out the roadblocks that are keeping you from getting there. And again, that's a really valuable hour because that hour should buy you time going forward. Once you see the savings in time from that, then start to look at, could I book this regularly? Could I have at least 1 hour a week? Now, my most ambitious clients, my most ambitious friends, they actually actively have 1 hour a day that they focus on $10,000 per hour thinking. And I call it a task. That's probably not the best word for it because strategic by definition is not task oriented. It's about looking forward, looking out to the future. So how could you bake a $10,000 hour into your work week? What would you have to eliminate? Maybe it's you lose an hour's sleep. I promise you it's worth it. But if all you did was 1 hour at 10,000 over the next year, somehow your life is better by at least $10,000. That might mean you've got more time on your hands. It might mean you've got less stress. It might mean you're producing more income. I can't tell you exactly how the universe will bring it to you, but I do know that if you don't sit down and think about it, it won't happen. Now, if you were to add, say, one $10,000 hour a week, and by the way, that could include mindset, working on your skill set, something about leveling yourself up so that you're better. If you added 1 hour a week over the course of a year, if we just used simple addition, you've added at least 520,000, 52 weeks at 10,000. You've added that much value to your own personal world. Again, it's not necessarily cash in the door today, but think about it. When we're young, we go to university, we invest a whole bunch of time and energy, we pay someone a bunch of money to teach us something. And then when we get out, we realize, ooh, I didn't learn the practical skills. I learned the theory. Now I have to learn the practical skills. We invest the time in that, but nobody stops and says, what's my plan? When we're in a university, there's prerequisites, there's a course levels, there's a plan, whether we realize it or not. And then when we get out into life, we go, I'm going to just drift along the river. We need to have a plan. So I promise you, the most valuable time you can have is sitting down and thinking about your plan. Where do you want to go? What obstacles are in the way? And what could you eliminate, automate, or delegate? And by the way, watching videos where you learn things like this is a high level because you're working on your brain. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.